Congressman, what do you make of this? Where is your guy? Can you speak as Rudy Giuliani? Last night, the mayor of New York saying that Trump no longer believes in this nonsense that this president snuck in the country, that he's an illegitimate leader.
Well, Chris, I hate to repeat a lot of what you already had in those links and the clippings, but the reality is this was started by Hillary Clinton. And the reality,
first of all, we're not going any further than that. Give me the evidence.
In 2008.
Where did she say this?
I actually have seen the memo, which is an inter-party memo that they should question it. I will absolutely get it to you.
What is the memo?
It said we need to question his origin.
And who's this from?
It's something from the Clinton campaign.
From the Clinton campaign itself?
Yes.
And you've seen this?
I have seen a copy of it. But let me say
this. No, you can't slip onto that. You can't say Hillary Clinton is the mother of the birther movement without evidence. And you knew you were coming on the show. Why didn't you bring it with you?
I may even have it in my briefcase, Chris. I don't know.
Well, come on, Black. This is a live show. We've got an hour. When you find it, no, Congressman, I'm dead serious. If you can find in your briefcase something from the Clinton campaign, not some blogger out there, but somebody who actually worked for Hillary Clinton under her direction, who said the president wasn't born in this country, that would be news, if you could produce it.
If I can see that. Now, maybe the heading, like the C, has been removed from it, as Hillary has said. But let me say this.
Heading, what is this?
It was an illusion.
What are we talking about now? Let's talk about facts and evidence.
It was an allusion to classified material.
Give me some evidence.
She said the heading.
Give me some evidence. Do you really believe okay, let me get back to your candidate. Is your candidate, Donald Trump, and you're a senior advisor to him, does he believe the President of the United States is a legitimately elected leader of our country, yes or no?
I'm going to quote Rudy Giuliani last night with an answer of yes, and that he is legitimate.
How do you know?
Let me say this.
How do you know he believes that? How do you know Trump believes that?
Because he's not focusing on this. He's focusing on jobs. He's focusing on education and safety. He's moved on. And, you know, it might be a hot topic in Martha's Vineyard where Hillary Clinton is. But on the streets of Baton Rouge and in Milwaukee.
That was a nice try, Congressman. I know why you're here. You got to defend Rudy against all manner of foe. You've taken the oath. Joy Reid, I was in Philly yesterday with a nice audience of people trying to build the city's image up. And it's something I really believe in. It was a mixed audience, racially, ethnically, if you will. There's a lot of people, I can tell from their expressions, that care about this issue. You know, and when you say the President of the United States is a fraud, the first African-American president is a fraud, that he somehow snuck in this country from Indonesia or Kenya or somewhere else and assumed an identity and somehow got himself elected under false pretense. That's a hell of a slam job, by the way, because I think I know why people do it, so that when they look at the faces of the presidents 20, 30 years from now, they won't really see Obama there. He'll have an asterisk next to his name because he snuck in. That's what Rudy's been pushing. Go ahead, your thoughts.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, your guest, Jack Kingston, as well as Rudy Giuliani, have just done, they said, first Giuliani put out two completely false statements, one of which you disproved with the montage, claiming that Donald Trump renounced birtherism 2-3 years ago. You showed him talking to you in December, so he has not renounced it. And what Jack Kingston just said, inventing a memo in which the Clinton campaign created the birther movement, I just looked up on my phone the PolitiFact article in which they went through this new conspiracy theory, and they did that as of last year. So you can look this up. It's easy to Google. It takes about 2 minutes. I just did it, in which they debunk that particular theory. That is just simply not true. And when you talk about the belief in the birther movement and what it has done for Donald Trump, Chris, it's quite clear that there is a substantial percentage of both Republicans and specifically Trump supporters who believe that Barack Obama is a fraud, that he was born in Kenya, that he has this, as Newt Gingrich used to call it, this anti-colonial Kendan mindset, that he has an anti-American mindset that comes from some sort of Mao leaning that he took over from his father. Dinesh D'Souza made a movie about it. So it is an article of faith among enough Republican base voters, of Trump supporters, that I think Donald Trump doesn't want to walk away from it. It's the reason he's popular with them. It rocketed him to the top of the pile among 17 Republican candidates for president, and it has created and built his cult of personality, because not only does he say it, not only does he allude to it, but he tried to humiliate the President of the United States, the first black president, which is something that deep down a lot of far-right Republicans wanted viscerally, not just to see the president made illegitimate, but to see him humiliated. We had George Romney, who was born in Mexico, no one ever asked him to prove he was an American. We had John McCain, a war hero, that also Mr. Trump has never, Donald Trump has never apologized for putting down his service, born in the canals, the Panama Canal Zone. No one's ever asked him to prove his Americanness. This was an attempt to humiliate the first black president of the United States.
Let me say this.
Let the congressman respond
to that. Let me say this. You know, I've been involved in this campaign, and I have never heard this as an issue. Jobs, the economy, safety, national security. That's why Donald Trump has the following that he does. And I have to just say respectfully, to broad brush millions of Americans as being a racist because something that you've interpreted as racist, well, I think you have. I think you have implied that. And I'll say that respectfully, that the reality is people are not supporting Donald Trump for the reasons that you mentioned. They like what he is saying about the economy, of creating jobs. They know that their household income is falling from 57,000 to 53,000.
And why do 7 in 10 Republicans believe in the birther theory? You can't discount this. Look, there's plenty of data and social science to back up what I just said.
I was in the House, and there were a lot of letters going around. I never signed that. Most of us never participated in that kind of discussion. But let me tell you, what attracts me to Donald Trump, and I think millions and millions of Americans, is his position on jobs and the economy.
Okay, but we'll talk about jobs some other night. Let me ask you about this.